10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this February 5th, 2018 evening. And, Chris, the Super Bowl has just ended very recently, I might add, like an hour ago. And I know you're a New England guy. Were you rooting for the Patriots?
Well, I'm a fair-weathered fan. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm like bodybuilding fans. You know, when they're, you know, I root for the Patriots if they make it to the Super Bowl or the playoffs, and if they didn't, I'd say, I'm not really into it.
Right. Yeah, I you know what the funny thing is? I hadn't watched a single football game the entire season. Zero. And I like the Giants and I like the Jets, and not one football game. And for some reason I said, I'll turn the game on, see what's going on. I wasn't planning on watching it.
Yeah. I
just don't have any time. You know what it is? I get sucked into these things. I'm very addicted to football. So I put it on and I watched the whole thing. And you know what the funny thing was? I don't know if you remember, since you did watch the game, at the very end when it was a controversial, the Eagles scored a touchdown. They didn't know if it was...
Came down to, it was like bodybuilding, the glutes and hams. They had to
go to the replay. You know what happened? Yeah. I lost my my signal because I have satellite TV, and we all of a sudden we got a rainstorm out of nowhere. It hasn't rained in like 60 days here, and it was a torrential rain, and I missed the end of this game, but. I did see the last 60 seconds, but it didn't matter at that point. Anyway, I really had no emotional investment in anything, but I usually hate the Patriots for some reason. But for some reason, because Tom Brady turned 40 this year, I all of a sudden, like, I can relate to him better now, I guess.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I was kind of rooting for them a little bit because I hate the Eagles and I hate the Patriots because the Eagles always, are going up against the Giants, and the Patriots, faced the Giants several times in the Super Bowl, and and I'm also a Jet fan, so I really didn't like both teams, so I was rooting for the old guy, basically, is what it amounted to. But I will lose no sleep tonight. I don't really care who wins.
Yeah.
Didn't matter to me.
Yeah, I grew up watching the Red Sox, and they let me down so many times. I learned never invest yourself emotionally in sports.
No. The Red Sox were I'm sure, would bust your balls.
I skipped school in 1976 to watch the Red Sox lose to the Yankees when Bucky Dent, a shitty home run hitter, hit a grand slam.
Yep. Yeah,
I wonder if Bucky Dent listens to the show.
Bucky Dent. Where is Bucky Dent nowadays?
I don't know. With John Brown somewhere.
Yeah, John Brown. We're going to bring up John Brown in a little bit, but... So let me look at my list of. I usually have no list of anything, but I made a list this time because I didn't know what we were talking about.
We'll go to 4 a.m.
I will be turning in 2 weeks. I'll be turning 50, as you know.
Yeah,
you're already there, so
I'm past
no big deal. But I don't know. It's a lot of people have asked me the number 50 seems very big to me compared to 40. And you know what? When I turned 40, I said, the number 40 seemed a lot bigger than the number 30. But
there's a monumental difference between 40 and 50, and 50 is not the new 40. 50 is like 50.
50 is like you're old.
Unless you're Dexter.
40 is still like, you know what? 40 is like the cool older guy.
Yeah.
50 is like, you're fucking old at 50.
That's right. Well, listen, if you don't think you're old, your hips and knees will tell you you are old.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm in no more physical discomfort at 50 than I was at probably 40. So, as a matter of fact, I'm in less.
Screwed up at 40 then. Gosh, that's amazing.
I shouldn't say that because I don't know when I tore my quad. So since my quad tear, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I haven't really been myself. But my shoulder, I have one replaced shoulder, so I feel better in that respect. And when I get the other one done at some point in the future, I'll feel hopefully even better. So. Maybe 50 is the new 30. I don't know. Maybe I'll be better at 50 than I was when I was turned 40. You never know.
No, you might have more wisdom at 50, but you will never go backwards physically.
I think that I'm. You know how people say, "Oh, I'm so much wiser as I get older." I'm walking around, and I don't know if this could be the fact that I have 2 kids and I have a lot of responsibility. I walk around in a fog. I don't know about you. I am in a fog. I don't even know what world I'm in.
That's because
I can't focus on the now. What?
Yeah. Well, that's because the kids are too young right now. But once they get a little older, then you'll
No,
come out of your hog.
I'm talking about I could be in a fucking doctor's office waiting for an appointment, and I'm staring at them like, what the fuck's going on? I don't even know where I am. I mean, I know I'm at the doctor's office, but I feel like I'm in this, and I don't know. I can't to tell if I'm getting old or if it's from staring at the cell phone too much. You get almost in like a trance from the stuff. I think
the cell phone will make you dumb. But
I think that the government is putting out stuff over the cell phones, and we're becoming like automatons almost. We're becoming like robots. They're programming us to not think anymore.
Well, they that's what likes are all about on Instagram. Is people get addicted to their likes. It's like they're not addicted to drinking and smoking pot. They're addicted to can't wait to get up in the morning to see if I got any more likes.
Yeah, and I have noticed one other thing since I've gotten older. Everyone irritates me and annoys me. All I do is I just did a video, and in the video I even acknowledged all I do is yell at people now. I can't handle.
I get accused of yelling at people all the time. I told my son this morning though. I justified it. I said I can yell because in a lot of parts of my life I am the boss. So you can't yell because you'll never become a boss if you can't. He was yelling about something.
Yeah. Well, I try to be like this peaceful, like nice guy, and to live at a higher spiritual level. And I find out that I just burped into the thing, high spiritual level. And I found out that if I do that, I get taken advantage of. So now I have to go around screaming at everyone all the time, and I'm sick of it. And these, I did a video on how UPS freight are a bunch of fucking morons. This is the second time that this one driver will not drive the 18-wheel truck down my street to drop off whatever I ordered from wherever I ordered it.
Why would he drive down your street?
He said he wouldn't do it. I said, you guys, most of the guys, they back down and they pull out.
Is he going to hit the trees or something? Or?
Well, he said, I might hit a tree. I said, you got plenty of room. I said, I don't. So I'm arguing with them on the phone because the guy, I got my cell phone answering questions for me. I'm not even asking. I'm not even asking the phone questions. They got Siri talking to me. Yeah, they're listening to me. They're listening to me like, fuck you. So I ordered this turtle tub. Now, 2 weeks earlier, I ordered, the kidney stuff I sell on my website. It's like for kidney detoxification. I order by the truckload. I order 300 at a time. So they bring it on UPS freight. And the guy didn't want to drive down the block. And so I'm telling U.S. freight people, they call me, they're like, we can't make it down your block. The guy says you have a gravel road. I'm like, I don't have a gravel road. It's paved. What the fuck are you talking about? He obviously didn't come. Well, the woman at UPS freight actually put it in her truck and delivered it to me herself because she felt bad. Now,
what'd she say when she got there?
Well, she's like, I have a friend down the block. It's kind of curvy back there. I said, exactly. But
that's I'm 3 houses. Roads are not perpendicular everywhere on
Chris,
Earth.
I am not in the curvy part. I'm in the straight part. You've been to my house. It's a straight run.
What do they do? What do they do in New England town, in Boston, where the roads are 14 feet wide?
Right. So I'm like, look. So they call up again, and they're like, we can't deliver. The driver says that there's trees in the way. I'm like, bullshit. I said, and I recognized the voice. I said, wait a second. Weren't you the woman who dropped off the stuff at my house 2 weeks ago? I might have been. I'm like, no, you are. I said, this guy is an ass. So the bottom line is he wouldn't do it. And then we're going to send it back, and the shipping.
Do what I would do. Call his boss. I would go.
Well, I tried to go over.
Call the boss. I would have done
that. Boss never got back to me. So she's like, well, you could pick it up.
Call the boss's boss.
You could pick it up at the end of the road. She's like, so I took my little gorilla cart that I have that I give Logan rides in, and I walked a quarter mile down to the end of my block to meet the truck. Now I videotaped the whole thing, of course. And I was like, I don't understand why you can't back that. Do you think you really can't back this truck down that street? Look at the size of this road. I don't know. It's twisty back there. I said, it's only three houses down. It's not in the twisty part. It's in the straight part. You back down straight, you pull out straight. I get deliveries all the time from other companies with 18 wheels all the time because we ship out a lot of stuff from my office there. So he's like, well, I don't want to do it. I said, what? He goes, why don't you just pull your truck around right to the back of my thing? I'll put it right in and you could take it right to your house.
Because I'm doing your job for you.
I said, well, no, I don't have a truck, number one. I said, and that's why I fucking have it delivered. I said, because I don't want to bring it to my house myself. Oh, well, if you don't want me to deliver it, I'll just leave. So he was a real asshole, this guy. So I'm like, yeah, all right. So I'm just videotaping the whole thing because I'm like thinking, I'm going to submit this to UPS and let them tell me if this is how their drivers and this is how they work as this is what they encourage, laziness. And then I did this whole like basically complaining rant on the way home about how Trump was right, and that's why America's not great anymore. We have all these lazy ass fucking people working. No one wants to work anymore. They all want to just collect welfare checks basically. And disability checks. That's the new thing. I don't even think it's welfare anymore. Everyone's on disability. You know how many people I actually know, able-bodied people that are on disability, mental disability?
Oh, I can tell you.
They stubbed their toe. They're on physical disability, and who's paying for it? Us, the taxpayers.
Sure.
So
I can go through. I know more people than you on disability. Sorry, but I just know more. Unfortunately,
you rented them all. That's why.
Of course I do. That's how I know.
You know how many bodybuilders in the bodybuilding industry are on disability, or how many people like the?
I don't believe that.
You
got to off
the
off
social
the record,
media people that are home all day on their computers.
Pull the plug on the show. I need to know exactly who was a professional bodybuilder getting disability checks.
I'll tell you. Believe me, I'll tell you.
I'm literally writing it down. I want to know who has a disability check.
There's
Not Sean Ray, is it?
No, there's people on disability. Trust me, I know a couple people. Mental disabilities.
Well, I can't work.
Are you pounding veal cutlets over there?
No, I just wrote down disability. Ask Dave who's collecting disability.
So this weekend I'm hosting this snake thing called Carpet Fest at my house. There's going to be like 30 people there, probably more. I'll probably get more people there than I get for like my guru course. But so I got all these people coming to my house, talk about snakes, and I gotta find food. I gotta cater food. They're bringing everything else, but I gotta bring the food. And so this is my first little snake thing I'm holding. Then in 2 weeks from now, February 24th, I have the Secrets of Becoming a Diet Guru course. And for all those people out there, I get so many people asking me questions. There's one guy who asked me questions. He's been asking me questions for 7 years probably. And I always answer his questions. Never, doesn't pay for, he's not a client or anything like that. But I answer his questions because I try to answer everyone's questions. And he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. And like I said, I'm sure if you're listening, continue asking your questions. I have no problem with it. But at some point, I answer probably 200 to 300 emails a day. So it takes a long, long time for me to answer all these emails. So, what I encourage people to do is if you're interested in learning, about stuff, watch the Ask Dave I do every week, Wednesday usually. I do a Q&A on the RxMuscle television, on the YouTube channel. I have an app out, the Dave Palumbo Experience app for $29 a month. I answer questions on there privately. Okay, all the time, okay, in depth. If you really want to learn how the body works, diet-wise, supplement-wise, performance-enhancing drug-wise, anything you could possibly want to know about bodybuilding related, and any question you could possibly ask me, you can come take the Secrets of Becoming a Diet Guru course. It's $750, $700 if two people come together each, and you get a 4-year college degree in this stuff and all this information that you're wondering about, okay, in one day. It's 1 day seminar. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It's a great time of year right now. It's beautiful in Cape Coral here. It's 70 to 80 degrees. Get away from it. Nice weekend. Get away during the winter, especially if you're up north. And come down. I have 4 spots left for the Saturday, February 24th course. And you can sign up at DavePalumbo.com. Now, you could think this is a shameless plug. It is, but you know what the truth is? There's so many people out there. And I can't tell you, at least half the people who take the class, Chris, are gurus out there, are already coaches. And they want to just reinforce what they have in their head because they know it's going to make them a better coach. And hey, this is how they're making their living. They might do this the rest of their life, so they want to be the best they can be, and it's smart. So, guys, I encourage you to come down and take the course, but make sure you sign up because, like I said, the last 4 spots. For some reason, when I get down to like 2 weeks out, that's when everyone signs up. I always think, oh, we're not going to have enough people, and then I wind up turning people away. So, sign up at DavePalumbo.com. All right, what else? People ask me.
Yeah,
good.
No, I was going to say maybe I can get into the housing part of your seminars where people come down. How much do they pay? How much do they pay for the seminar? $7?
Yeah.
Okay, so for $11.95, then they can get a first-class accommodations. I guess we'd have to find a place for them.
We should build a little RxMuscle. You know how they have the Ronald McDonald house? We should have the RxMuscle house.
No, didn't WWF have where everyone lived in a house at WWE, whatever
Yeah,
it
was
is?
something like that. Yeah, I'm sure they did some reality show.
All the guru people taking the class could live in the same house for 3 days.
Great. I wish I had them. I wish I had.
You
some,
could tape it.
Maybe you could. Maybe you want to. Maybe you and I should invest in a house down here.
I know. The neighbors, get rid of your neighbor. He hates you. Between the trucks rumbling down the road and Big Lenny,
We'll talk about that in a minute. So, no, but we can get like a house, like a 5-bedroom house, with like at least 2 or 3 bathrooms in it, and we can Airbnb it. But on the the Guru Course weekends, we can bring everyone in. Be great. Now's the time to buy down here. Believe me, I'm looking I'm always looking at real estate. I'm like you now, because
I know.
But I want to buy everything. That's the problem. And then I wind up buying nothing. I get paralyzed.
Yeah. Well, the more you look, the more you find.
I know. I'm like, should we get a pool?
It's as simple as that. The more you look, the more you find.
You're right.
You're going to find something. You know what? Looking for someone asked me who listens to the show about real estate. I said, you know what? It's like those things that old people use to find like coins in the sand.
Yeah, the metal detectors.
I mean, if you're a metal detector, if you go out for like hours a day on the beach, you're going to find something.
Right.
And if you look at like, I don't know, real estate for hours a day or an hour a day, you're going to find something.
I get scared though, because I start liking what I'm seeing. I'm like, ooh, this is good. Like it's almost like too much. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't look at all. We went to a strawberry festival. Now, Mike Greenwell, who used to play for the Boston Red Sox, who you probably know, since you're a Boston fan, he lives down here and he has a huge farm. He lives on the property, and then he kind of does. It's like one of these organic farms. You go and you can pick vegetables. And he had the first strawberry fest he ever had. The freaking thing was packed to the hilt. I couldn't believe how many. It took us forever to get in there. And then you run around. They got animals. They got horses, and they had 2 Clydesdales there. My son was going crazy. He was like in heaven. I don't know who was more excited, him or me. We were running around. They had goats there. He was playing with. They had pigs, and they had tortoise and some rabbits, and then of course we were picking strawberries. And it seemed like we got there a little late, so everyone had ravaged through the strawberries. So like if you found one, it was like a diamond in the rough, so to speak. I'd be like, I found one, Logan, and he'd like pop it in his mouth and eat it, and it was pretty fun. But when we were driving down the street there were houses for sale, and I'm like, like with separate buildings on the property. I'm like, I wonder how much this thing is. And I'm like
shockingly cheaper than Long Island.
Oh yeah, crazy. Like, like 179,000, 200,000 for this like 5-acre plot. And I'm like looking it up on Zillow. I'm looking at the addresses. I'm looking them up on Zillow, and I'm like, holy shit! Like but it's on a main road. But I'm like, but maybe it can be commercial. I'm like, too much going through my head. I'm like, look, I got too much going on already. I don't need to do this. You'd lose your mind down here.
Oh, I lose my mind on the internet. Just looking at the internet. It's just Dave. You know what? Do you remember when we were kids that this is really dating you? You say you're getting old. Name that tune, and you could name. I think I talked about.
I can do it in 4 notes. I'll do it in 3. And these,
I can. I will go on the MLS. I will go on like Craigslist or Hot Pads, and I'll see put apartment for rent, and I'm like, oh, haha, that sold. In my mind, I do this. That sold 6 months ago for like $332,000. The ask, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, so you're like really immersed.
Get stuck in my head.
You're really immersed in that stuff. Yeah.
Well,
houses are unique. You can remember them. From what you looked at. When we looked at houses around here, I remembered all the houses. Just from seeing them and just staring at them. It is. But I start to see a piece of property by my house. I'm like, oh, that's a new house they're gonna put up there. I wonder what I can get that for. Like, I really need a house. I don't even need the house, but I'm like, what? It's probably so cheap. I know in 5 years it's going to be double that. Like I said, it gets addicted. And the property taxes down here are jokes. So it's not like, who cares? You pay $2,000 a year down here for property taxes. So. All right, well let's get back to bodybuilding for a second. So I had so everyone's asking me what's going on with the Arnold. Now I know you're going to be down at the Arnold. Obviously, you're helping a lot of people. I got Raphael Noble is going to be shooting the show for us. I haven't decided if I'm going yet with bringing Tyler and Sid down there. I thought I was going to go, and then I'm like, it's really been hard with the new baby, and I'm like, what? Unless we have a sponsor, right now I have a couple irons in the fire, but unless we have a sponsor, I'm not going. Lee Priest did tell me he's going though. Black Skull's bringing him in, so if worst case scenario is that you and Lee can do some wrap ups and
but neither of us know how to use a camera.
True, but I'll have someone down there with a camera who do help you with the camera. All you got to do is do your thing. All you got to do is do your thing. Yeah. or I'll send Sid down there, something like that. We'll take care of it. So I haven't decided yet. So the answer to any of your questions, I'm not sure if I'm going yet. What else do I want to bring up? Oh, so Big Lenny, we teased the interview last week. Big Lenny came down to the studio on Tuesday. For those of you who don't know who Big Lenny is, and you haven't been listening to the shows, Big Lenny is he lives in South Florida on the East Coast over there, and he's a super intense guy. You got to just kind of see Lenny. Lenny is he's like a monstrously big guy, but got a weird shape, but he's just like super hardcore bodybuilder. So I wanted to get him on the show. A lot of people have been asking me to get him on, and he seems like a good guy. And so I got him down here with a couple of his friends, and they drove down to my house. And you've heard me tell the stories about my neighbor. Yeah, my neighbor is kind of an asshole, and I never did anything to him whatsoever. I never even said 2 words to him other than go over to his house and introduce myself when they delivered his package to my house by accident twice. And then he yelled at me because he thought I was speeding, and then he cursed me out. And I told him to go fuck himself because I was like, I can't believe this guy's talking to me this way. So now he's got this vendetta against me. So I guess when Big Lenny came with his people, he thought of all the houses on my block, he had to go to that guy's house, and say, "Where's Dave, the big famous bodybuilder?" He's like, "I don't give a fuck who he is, and get off my property." So they kicked Lenny off the property, which I thought was pretty funny. And then so we start doing the interview, and halfway into the interview, Amanda comes in. She's like, "The police are here." This can't be happening. I said, "This is almost too good to be true." Yeah, the police are here. I said, "All right." So I went out. I said, "Tyler, bring the camera." And we filmed, and 3 cops were there, cop cars, everything. And then, sure enough, the neighbor called the cops. Said 3 drunk guys were trying to going on his property, just being a douchebag, And I told the cops the whole story, and they're laughing hysterically. I'm like, "Can you believe what they waste your time with?" He goes, "It happens all the time," because you wouldn't even believe it. So I thought, whatever. Is what it is. But the Lenny interview was very popular. It was so long, we broke it into 2 parts, and obviously the police part is in there as well, and it's pretty amusing. We got over 100,000 views on the 2 videos combined, so people seem to be interested in Big Lenny, and they want more of him. So to give people more, tomorrow night, I don't know when we'll air it. It might go tomorrow night, but I'm revitalizing, Chris, the Heavy Muscle TV show. We had done 100 issues, as you know, 100 episodes, and I retired it kind of because I left New York, and it was hard to get all the whack packers, in the studio, Jimmy the Bull and Mr. G, and all the characters that I had created on that show and personalities. And so I was like, So, but then now that we don't really need people in studio with us, I could do everything via Skype. So we're doing an episode of the Heavy Muscle TV show. It's going to be the old crew, Romano and myself. We'll be having Greg Valentino join us. Boston Lloyd will be a new addition to the Whack Pack, and Big Lenny. They're going to get Big Lenny on camera. Now, Big Lenny is very computer illiterate, but evidently his handlers, Andrew and the other guy over there, I forget his name, they're going to get him on Skype, and all I got to do is give Lenny some species supplements. I've got Lenny on this waist reduction program I put him on. Everyone keeps asking me what it is. I said, well, let's see how it works first, and then I'll reveal the secrets possibly. I on the air I said that I will reduce Lenny's waist by 10 inches, which could be a world record, Chris. Right?
Could be. In how long?
Lenny doesn't even have any fat on his waist. I said I'll do it in, what did I say? I don't even remember. 8 weeks, something like that. 10 weeks, I don't know. He's not fat. He has toxicity issues, I think, and poor abdominal control. So I got him doing a whole bunch of different things to try to get that way. I got him doing some fiber. I'm not going to tell you all the things, but I got him doing some interesting things. We'll see if we can get that waistline down. Anyway, so Lenny's going to be on. So I'm going to make it I'm going to pull some interesting topics and just let these guys go off. And I just want to see if we can get that old magic back where it was kind of I've been putting up on Sundays the RxMuscle classics, with Jimmy the Bull goes crazy on camera. And actually, I wanted to get Jimmy the Bull. He hasn't responded to me yet. He might be on the show as well. It might be too many personalities, but we'll see if we can make it work. And so that's going to happen Tuesday. I got a whole bunch of people coming. I have a lot of interviews this week as well. And then, of course, probably by next week, we're going to start doing we should probably start this week, but definitely next week we'll be starting the pre-Arnold interviews. I definitely want to get Roden on the show, talk to him a little bit. You're supposed to actually reach out to him for me. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I texted him.
All right. Cedric said he was going to do an interview with me after he won that San Marino show. I forgot to get back to him. He actually texted me back and said, "Yeah, sure." So I kind of dropped the ball on that one. So I got to get Cedric on. Who else are you helping for that show? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who else is
Jose?
You
right. You got Kamal on the show coming up, right?
Yeah, Kamal's going to be on the show this week. Absolutely. People don't even know who he is, so it'll be a good interview. And have they tried to steal Kamal at the Camel Crew from you?
Well, you ask him. I don't want to spoil the interview.
I can't imagine. Where is he from? What country?
Libya.
Oh, so he's definitely right around their area, though.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that they wouldn't give the pro card to.
Yeah,
Raphael wouldn't,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Raphael wouldn't give it.
He had a run-in. So let's see if he opens his mouth and tells you the Raphael
I'll ask
story.
him the whole story. Yeah,
That's why I like to make fun of Raphael, because I don't think it was, I feel like Trump. He was not fair. He didn't treat my friend Kamal very fairly.
That's right. So that's going to be the new Whack Pack show, Heavy Muscle TV. It'll be Tuesday, and then we have Kamal on. Who else do we have? Let me look at my schedule. Got a bunch of, whenever I put my phone near that stupid microphone, it goes crazy. I'll look it up another time. I wanted to talk about this. Well, let's talk about John Brown, because John Brown was a bodybuilder from the '80s that was kind of a groundbreaking of the. He was one of the first guys to really do some crazy, creative posing on stage. Sean Ray credits him with teaching him how to pose and really helping him with his bodybuilding. Right, initially, I know he gives him a lot of credit.
I believe so.
And Melvin Anthony too. Wasn't I think John Brown was actually a counselor, right? When Melvin Anthony, or I could be confusing the stories.
I think that was that Troy Zuckel?
Oh, that might have been Troy Zuckel. But I know that John Brown taught Melvin to pose too. And Melvin was, I think Melvin might be in the top 3 best posers.
Well, Melvin kind of stole everything from John Brown.
Right, but he made it his own too, though.
Yeah, but there's an original. I mean, the point in the whole, when we were talking about John Brown off the radio,
yeah,
I said that John Brown was Kai Green 30 years before Kai Green was Kai Green, really? with probably a better, if people want to go Google over classic physiques, Google the name John Brown and you will see an unbelievable Mr. Olympia level competitor. When I went out to LA, he was such a big deal, it was ridiculous. That was 87.
I'm trying to remember when I interviewed him for MD. I believe he was the guy, because he had his own clothing line. He created clothing and stuff like that. He actually created that one-legged like running tights that Florence Griffith Joyner, FloJo.
I don't even think people wore tights with that. I don't even think the sprinters wore tights.
No, they just,
not only did she wear tights, she wore the one-legged one.
The one-legged one was the one that she won the Olympics with, and he said he designed that. He was friends with them.
He designed clothes. He's a tremendous artist. Speaking like a Kai type. He's got a mouth on him. He can talk, a mile a minute in a good way, any topic going.
He'd definitely be a classic bodybuilder today.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. But look, he'd kill these guys.
Oh no, I know.
He would destroy. I mean, he had classic lines, but he would destroy these guys. I mean, he's just too big for. I don't know if he'd make the weight, but.
You think he was too big? Wasn't he tall though too?
Yeah, he was tall, and Dave, he was the first one to, I believe, change music in routines. In other words, in routines for shows, he would do a minute and a half of this song and then a minute and a half of that song. Nobody had ever done that before. Plus, people used to stay within a 5 foot by 5 foot, space during their routine.
Right.
And he would use the whole stage. If it was 60 feet wide, he'd use all 60 feet of it.
Interesting.
I mean, we laugh. It sounds like nothing now, but when nobody had, you go back and look at Pump and Iron Arnold. He didn't move from a 3 foot by 3 foot space.
Right. So it's funny. People are probably wondering why are we talking about John Brown all of a sudden, and the reason is that HBO's Real Sports program is featuring the 3 John Brown sons and John Brown, I guess. Because John Brown is they're comparing him to the I guess you could say what's his name, the Venus Williams and Serena Williams' father,
yeah,
who taught them how to play tennis even though he didn't know what he was doing from reading a book.
Yep.
Well, John Brown is, according to this little article that you sent me, has been grooming these kids to be NFL football stars from before they were born, starting with the fact that he married some big, huge, athletic German woman, I guess good genetics, had 3 sons, and from I think the age of what they said, at the age of 6, they were weight training. He was weight training them and getting them ready to be, professional football players. They all got scholarships. One went to Notre Dame, and he's entering the NFL draft this year. That's
they have the St. Browns. He's the Brown. He
changed his last name too. Yeah, to St. Brown. I don't know why he changed it. We'll have to
he wanted to see on the. He had an image, and he thought the name St. Brown would look better than Brown on the back of an NFL jersey.
He's probably right.
No, that's why.
You know what the oldest son's name is? Equanimous St. Brown. Equanimous St. Brown.
When do I name them that?
He started Notre Dame, entered the 2018 draft. Osiris St. Brown is in his second season at Stanford, which is a great college. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is a 5-star receiver who committed to USC, all on scholarships, Division I football programs. A lot of kids in my school say I was built in a science lab. Amon-Ra St. Brown says during a segment, I think the reason they say that is they haven't met people like us before. Sound familiar? Before passing judgment, let Amon-Ra finish that quote. You'll see this story isn't quite what you think. Talking about the HBO Real Sports story, of course. Mm-hmm. John Brown, a 2-time Mr. Universe, and talks about the methodical way he trained his sons, including why he changed their last name to St. Brown. Brown married Miriam, a tall, strong German woman with a vision for his 3 sons before they were even born. This piece takes a lot of familiar themes, the same as the Ball family. John Brown had his sons lifting when they were 5, 6, and 7 years old, respectively. Interesting. Brown told his sons, shoot for the stars because the bottom is way overcrowded. There's your quote for the week, right?
Yeah.
Brown says, I was just a lucky guy who had a plan to get married, have a family, and put all of me into them and sit back and watch it all develop. So that's going to be on HBO Real Sports this month. And
that's how he talked when if you go back and see interviews with him, that's how he talked in bodybuilding, though, just if you're around him.
Yeah. Kids are good-looking kids. He's got. They look German, except with black skin. They really do. They look like they could be Roman Fritz's son, and I know Roman listens to the show. So what's up, Roman? So that's cool. Well, I'll have to get John St. Brown. Maybe I got to find out if he changed his name. I got to get John Brown on the show again. I haven't talked to him in a long time. I remember he was a great interview. I was nervous. I didn't know what he was going to say next. It was one of those interviews because he's just like, no filter. Yeah. Speaking of no filters, I don't know if you saw what's going on with Boston Lloyd lately.
Yeah, I saw that.
He talk about real sports. He had a show. Blackman called up Boston Lloyd about 2 or 3 weeks ago because Boston told me. Boston called me. He goes, "What do you think Blackman called me?" I said, "He personally called you?" He goes, "Yep, personally called me." I said, "What did he say?" Boston, we want to give you your own show on MD. And Boston basically said to Steve, well, I don't want to be paid. He goes, and I don't want to be exclusive. I'm still going to do stuff with Dave and other people. That's just, if you want, I'll do the show. I don't mind, the exposure, but I don't need any payment. We'll get back to you. So I figured he would never call him back at that point because, he has to have exclusive. He has to have control. Blackman doesn't like not having control. So to my being wrong, Ron Harris called him up and says, all right, Steve agreed. We're going to do it. It's going to be called Real Talk, and you can talk about whatever you want. So basically, Boston sat in front of his computer, turned on the webcam, recorded himself for 58 minutes, and sent it, I guess, to Ron. And Ron put it up on MD. And, of course, Boston is Boston. Boston's talking about whatever he wants to. He's throwing people under the bus. He's making fun of Thomas O'Connor, the anabolic doc over there. And probably, I'm sure all these guys are calling Blackman up and complaining because – they're all working for free too, so they don't want to be made fun of by one of Blackman's, we'll make you a star, guys. So I guess they pressured Blackman enough. Blackman made Ron take the video down. So Mr. No Bull, video over there had to be all bull, They had to take it down, and Ron felt so embarrassed by it. And I actually feel, I actually feel bad for Ron. Ron's like, I know Dave's going to go to have a field day with this. Oh, we're going to have a field day with it, but I feel bad for you, Ron. I almost don't even want to talk about it because I do feel bad for you about the whole thing. Because Ron is mortified. You could tell that Blackman made him take this thing down, and that they can't have Boston on there because he worked the whole deal. He's been, schmoozing Boston for God knows how long.
They should put Blackman out there as the face and say, this is the reason I took it down.
He did.
What?
Ron threw Steve right under the bus. Steve's like, wow.
No, they should put Steve's face out there.
Oh, Steve's face. Maybe should we contact Steve for an interview? So we can find out what happened?
Is the puppet around?
The puppet's
Maybe you can do a Skype. Maybe you can do a Skype show this week with the puppet, and ask why the Boston Lloyd Noble, whatever he calls it, his TV segment became
Chris, he's very disrespectful to Dr. O'Connor. He's been very supportive of MD. We don't pay him. We owe him like $100,000, and he forgave the debt. Yeah, Boston's throwing all the guys that are owed money under the bus. That's the problem. And so Blackman's like, fuck, I don't want to have to pay these guys, so I got to get rid of Boston. So poor boy. So I said, Boston, you know what? Shame on you. I warned him.
Dave, seriously, was it up 10 minutes?
No, it was no. But Boston.
Let me say
Boston
this. I don't
put it on his own site.
Dave, hold on. I don't know if we said this or you said it on this radio show.
What?
But I am 100% sure you told me that Boston told you that he was doing a show for Blackman, and you said, 1, that's great, and then 2, it won't last.
Oh, of course not. I told him, I said,
I know,
why?
but I don't think
I said, Boston,
it wouldn't last 20 minutes.
Right. I said, Boston, why did you even do the show? You know what? If anything, you're discrediting yourself by doing the show because, you don't care about what people think about you, but Blackman doesn't pay people, and you know what? You shouldn't be even supporting anything that they do over there because number one, they don't care about you. They're just looking. Blackman's desperate for anyone to view anything. Look who's running the show over there. Dookie is one of the administrators over there. I mean, they're desperate. They have there's no pros left. It's just like a schlock house. It's like
what's a schlock house?
It's a Yiddish expression for a bunch of losers, basically. They got like the dreck of society. The only guy there who's worth his weight in gold is Ron Harris, but Ron can't leave because he'll never get paid, even though he's never going to get paid anyway. But the back money he's owed, but he's desperate, and you know what I feel? Like I said, I feel really bad for Ron, and I'm not going to make fun of him because I really have nothing bad to say about Ron, even if he might say some bad stuff about me because Blackman makes him say bad stuff. But I know that Ron likes me, and I know that I get along with him, and he's just in an unfortunate situation. And when he's when the ship goes down there, completely and hits the bottom of the sea, Ron will probably do some interviews with us, I'm sure. And like I said, I have nothing but good stuff to say about Ron. So, like I said, I feel bad, but it's actually a comedy. It's like a comedy of errors. It's like, what the hell else can happen over there? It's like, we don't even have to do anything. People keep saying, why do you keep talking about it? I'm like, because they keep giving us more fucking stuff to talk about. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, but it's like a comedy of errors over there. So anyway, so Boston will be on the show on Tuesday. I'm sure he'll give us the whole shebang what went on. Tell us what's going on over there. All right, what else is on my list? I talked about John Brown. I talked about the Boston Lloyd thing. What else?
The Chiru show was canceled, I heard.
Which Chiru show?
I don't know. He was supposed to have a show down in Columbia.
Oh,
and
they
I know
canceled
somebody.
it? Oh, wow. I thought he was moving up in the world. Now they're canceling the show?
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Wow.
I know there's no classic. Maybe there was no classic from the beginning.
Oh, all right.
I mean, it's odd that he would be holding a show in India. I mean, not India. See, look at I got my continents in a whole different continent.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. I don't really know what the state of affairs is down there in Medellin, Colombia.
Ask Cutler. It's his favorite country, I think.
Why is that?
He says it's beautiful in Medellin.
February 10th. Next week is the show. No, hold on. What is this?
That's it.
Oh, next week is the one in India. I'm looking at here. Ifbb Pro Qualifier Series 2018 Women's Bikini. They're giving out pro cards in Ludhiana, Punjab, India. February 10th. That's Shiru. Now I'm looking. I clicked on the one for Medellin. It took me to the one in India. So you might be right. Maybe that's a bad sign. Maybe that's a bad sign.
You can change your plane tickets from Colombia to India.
I had to switch over. Hold on. Here it is. February 18th, one day after my birthday. Medellin, Colombia. All right. What are they doing here? I see. Andre Ferguson, so I'm assuming that they're probably having men's physique. Raymond Edwards, yes, men's physique, bikini, and it looks like that's all they're having. I don't know. I gotta look. Let me see what this pro show says. I think that's it. But everything I keep clicking on, it keeps taking me back to freaking India. I hope it's still going on. I hate to see this thing canceled.
You don't want to get a plane headed to Colombia and have it land in India.
Yeah. Let's see what it says here. Shiru Classic Colombia. It's hard to do these shows. I don't know. I give Shiru credit. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I have no problem with him. And it is what it is. Well, let's see. So he's got 2 shows in 2 weeks. He's got the one next week.
I guess. No, you know what that is, right?
No.
You don't pay people. Blackmanitis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does have some problems with that, I think. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that I have to call him up. He's always texting me, so you know what? I'm going to text him. I'm going to find out what's going on with this Shiru Classic in Colombia. Sounded like a good... I'd be afraid to go to Colombia, to be honest with you. I really do. It's one of those countries that, who knows? You get kidnapped, you get...
How do you know?
Who knows? It's Colombia. It's
Colombia. But what do you know about... I don't know anything about Colombia.
I can't imagine it being a good spot to go to. My friend, I'll tell you how I know. I'm not saying
it's got to be.
I'll tell you,
it's got to be off the charts.
I'm sure when Jay goes down there, they probably have like an armed guards and stuff like that taking him around. I have a good friend Eddie. He's from Medellin, Colombia. His wife is from Medellin. And he told me if you don't know the right people, it's dangerous down there. Now, I guess maybe that's if you're just going on your own. But I guess if maybe the promoters are picking you up, you might be a little safer. I don't like any place that's dangerous. The only thing that I would want to do in Colombia is find boa constrictors that might not exist in the U.S. and try to smuggle them back to the U.S. But other than that, I'm not interested in going there. I got talked into going to India, you remember, in 2012. And I actually was having a good time until I tore my quad. And I'm still dealing with it now, so... I should have listened to I should have listened to Weinberg when he told me don't go. He's like, "Don't, are you crazy?" I said, "Steve, aren't you going?" He goes, "I don't have a choice." He goes, "I went once. I'm not going again." So it looks like it's February 16th through the 18th. Is they call it? It's Joe Weider's Amateur South America show. Amateur Olympia. It's the same one. I don't know. Now I don't see Sheroots, but this has got to be it. They must be having an amateur Olympia there as well. All right, well, I hope I was of no use to anyone on this, but to me, the Arnold Classic is the next big show. And I'm like I said, I'd like to go to it, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I may have to watch the webcast. Is anyone webcasting it this year? I'm sure someone is.
I don't know. Because I've always been there. I've never,
Yeah.
Never really looked to see if it's webcast, since typically I would be there.
Right. No, you'll definitely be there. You got all your guys in the show. I see these 3 John Brown's sons sitting in this picture. I know you saw the picture in the article. It reminds me. They're obviously a lot older. They remind me of your 3 sons. Really. I don't know why. This is going to be your 3 sons.
I'm going to change my kid's name to Saint Aceto.
No, but seriously, do you see yourself pushing them into? I know they're in sports now, but
no, I don't push my kids into. You know what? I push them into. You know what I push my kids into? Knowing how the real world works.
Right. And
I push my kids into being kind, but I also push my kids into being tough. I give them lessons 24/7. They see me on the phone, or they see me deal with people. I bring them with me dealing with people, and if people are rude to me, sometimes they see me give that person amazing amount of patience in return, because, and I say maybe they're having a just a bad day. I have bad days all the time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think I confuse them because somebody could be horribly rude to me and I just go completely nuts and try to put them in their place. And then I tell them that lesson is sometimes you just got to put people like them in their place. So I think I might be sending conflicted messages. So do I, force them into things? No, I try to expose them to as many things as possible. If they want, they're taking, if they want to be piano players and be good at it, if they want to play tennis, if they want to be bodybuilders,
right.
I don't know if I'd want them to be classic and, not take as much juice or just go for it and be in the open class. I'm kidding.
I was trying to teach my son how to hit poses. But my son was watching the football game. I don't think he understands. I didn't think he understood anything that was going on. And he was going crazy. He was tackling me. He was watching the guys on the thing, and I think he really understands. And he was tackling me to the point where I was in pain, because he must have hit me 20 times at full speed. He runs with all his might and just tackles me and laughs like it's the funniest thing. And I'm like, now I know what my dad was talking about. My dad used to tell me I used to do the same thing when I was a kid. I would fight with him and wrestle him, and he was talking about me doing it at 4. My son's only 2. When he gets to 4, he's going to be killing me. So
yeah.
He's doing these spin moves that he's watching on TV that these football players, and I'm like, what the hell is he? My wife's like, what the hell is he doing? I'm like, I think he's doing a spin move.
That's what.
He's doing a spin
because
move.
he sees more. He sees more than you saw when you were that age.
I know. It's crazy, right? Isn't it?
Does he climb?
He's starting to get into that. We try to discourage it because he's very dangerous. He has no safety. Nothing safe. He does nothing. He's like me. He's impulsive. He doesn't think before he acts. So he'll climb on top of the couch and just fall off on his head. He won't even put his hands out. So we have to trying to limit the climbing, and only when he's under supervision. He likes to climb ladders though and stuff like that. If I'm around and I let him, then it's all right. But he's dangerous. So that's it. I have nothing else to talk about. It's a short show.
You had the quote of the week. That is a short show.
No, give us the no. I wanted to ask you a couple questions anyway. What's the update on Sean Roden? Because a lot of people have been asking me. It's been very quiet over there in Sean Roden's camp. I personally think he's got to be considered the favorite going into the show. He's beaten everyone in the lineup. I mean, he's been second at the Mr. Olympia before. He's beaten Dexter before when he's at his best. What kind of a Roden are we looking at? I mean, he hasn't done the Arnold for 2 years now?
Oh gosh, more than that.
I think it's been 2 years, right? Didn't he lose to Cedric? Or no, wait, he lost to Wolf. What was it?
He lost to Wolf in 13 or 14? 14, 17. So 4 years. He hasn't done it 4 years.
Okay, this is the third 3 years. So.
I think that he'll, he's capable of winning it with Cedric, with Rolly, with Bonac.
But don't you think? Look. Let's be honest. Put yourself that you're helping him aside. Don't you think that Roden has to be the guy to beat him and Dexter in this lineup?
Yeah, I think Peeled wins the show.
Yeah.
There you go, right there. Peeled wins the show, automatic.
I think so too. I agree with that statement.
And that's the litmus test for the show in the Open, and that's who is going to be the winner. So you can't. You can't count anyone out, but I think they're going to listen. There's 5 different physiques in the show. It's hard to judge a show when everyone has a different physique. They'd be happy if Ramy was in there because then they could say there's all these different physiques, and even if Ramy wasn't in great condition, they could say he's the biggest, and it would be alleviating for them to be able to just say, okay, we got a clear winner. Not necessarily saying Ramy would be the clear winner, but it's just that's the way the chips fall. You can say, okay, he's the that's what makes him different. So take him out, you have like Cedric's physique, you have Dexter's, you have Rolly's, Roden's, and Bonacs, and whoever else is in the show, because I don't know who's in the show, but those would be like the names that come right to mind. And all of them have different heights, different widths, totally different flows, bodies, this and that. So how do you compare them? And I think out of convenience, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it just like you go to like, okay, let's just figure out who's the most peeled.
Now, what advice do you give to Roden? I mean, going
Come in
into
peeled.
a lot
Come
of
in peeled.
yeah, well, that's your job to get him peeled. Let's say he comes in peeled. Now, a lot of people have criticized Roden because he's not aggressive enough on stage. He doesn't sometimes lets his midsection hang out. He's he almost seems like, and Chad has said like he doesn't want to be there. What how do you interpret that, and what has been your advice to him lately?
I mean, he has his own, his stage presence and non-stage presence. I think when he's dead on, that stage presence of like, I'm not super aggressive has like an edge to it that works.
But Wheeler always had that like.
No, but you got to be aggressive. Listen,
Wheeler was aggressive on stage. Is what I'm saying. My point is that him and Roden had that same like they walk out like they're like kind of like real cool and it works. But when Wheeler would be going head to head with like Ronnie, he was very aggressive on stage, which Roden doesn't seem to be.
I think you have to be aggressive, and I'll tell him to be aggressive, whether he listens or not. That's sometimes you can tell people to be aggressive and they say, oh, yeah, and then they get up there and, it's like one big blur to them, and they're not aggressive.
Cedric is different. Cedric's not as aggressive, but not really. He's more mocking of the other competitors. He likes to, like, point out their weaknesses and exploit that, and he'll step in front of people. So he is aggressive, but in his own, like, very coy, offbeat way.
Yeah, I think Cedric is extremely capable of winning the show. I think Cedric has actually, in my mind, won the show almost yearly for the last 4. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. The Arnold's traditionally a tremendous show for him. He's always the talk of the show, whether he wins or doesn't win, meaning his placings, including Arnold, having to open up his trap to voice where he thought that Cedric should have placed, which was first a couple of years ago.
Right.
Actually, 2 and 3 years ago, Arnold, spoke up about Cedric's placing. So Cedric is just, in the right call out. I always say this about Cedric, in the right call out. People would say that Cedric won. When you call 5 people like Ed Arnold and he's on the edge, then by definition they're comparing the guys dead in the center for first and second, and the guys on the end for like 4th and 5th.
Right.
Which is, so like let's say Cedric ends up 4th in an Arnold, which he has. It seems controversial, but if he had him dead center, then they would say, well, you're judging him against everyone else, and he'd get straight ones.
Right.
So there's a weird strategy to his placings. When he gets a call, people like say, God, he's crazy. But if he doesn't get the good call and he's on the end, of 4 or 5 people, then they say, you don't have the crazy glutes that so and so has.
Does Arnold talk to Cedric at all? You think Cedric gets a text every once in a while?
No. I mean, Arnold is clearly a fan of Cedric. I mean.
Yeah. No, I thought maybe give him encouragement text. Hey, Cedric, how's the diet going?
Yeah, those texts,
Cedric would never tell us anyway.
No, he wouldn't tell you.
He probably has no cell phone service anyway out where he lives in the boonies out there. I don't know if you've watched the TV. I watch Shark Tank. Now I told you I'm addicted to it.
I watched it yesterday actually.
Sometimes if you keep the TV on after they run like 6 Shark Tanks in a row, they have this new show on. It's Jay Leno's Garage. It's called. It's about all the different, and he reviews all these. He shows you his cars, and then he drives new cars out there. And he drove. I was watching a show with him and Arnold yesterday.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. I didn't see the show, but I saw that they were together on the show.
Yeah. Arnold had his Mercedes, like what is it called, GLK or something like that. It's like the truck. It's like a square truck. I can't remember which one it is. It's a nice thing. Really mint. He sent it to Germany, and they turned it into an electric car, but it has like 500 horsepower. It's purely green. He wanted to prove to everyone, hey, it's not the fault of the car. These electric cars, that they look shitty. It's that they don't put the right, they don't. You can have a nice looking car that's electric that runs well, and so it's like 500 horsepower. That the car's got like tremendous pickup, and Jay was very impressed with the car. And Arnold said he sent his Hummer out they're to Germany for them to turn that into an electric vehicle as well. And which I thought is great because, I don't know if Bleckman still has it, but Bleckman had this H1 Hummer. It was like I've told you the story. It sounded like a freaking 18-wheeler, when it would warm up in the morning. It was huge because Arnold drives a Hummer, so Steve had to have this Hummer. And it was
go down to 7-Eleven and get the coffee and the Times.
Hey, in the Hummer.
Tell me the story, yeah.
Yeah, so when Bleckman finds out that Arnold's getting the Hummer turned into an electric vehicle, he might have to send his out now to I don't know if Elise, his wife, will let him, but he might have to send the Hummer out and get the thing turned into like, Arnold, where'd you send the Hummer? Steve, I sent it to Germany because they make the best. They have the best engineering, and they converted it to all electric, but it was very expensive. How much, Arnold? If you don't mind me asking. No, Steve, it was like $500,000. You tell them Arnold sent you, they give you a discount. Meanwhile, Arnold's probably pocketing like, a 10% commission on it. And he's like, I don't know if Elise will let me. Elise, Arnold has the... Steve, don't even think about it. Pay your employees first. Elise, the checks are on my desk. I just haven't signed them yet.
Yeah, they're printed.
Yeah, but Steve, you have no advertising coming. Nah, Jared is going to pay me. I know it. He told me. Jared is in court fighting, for his life.
Who's Jared? You got to explain who Jared is.
Who owns High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. It's his only sponsor. Christian told me that we got a new sponsor coming in for $60 a week.
Who's the sponsor, Dave?
It's the company that disperses the disability checks for all the people I was telling you that are on disability. That's the company that's sponsoring his site, because all the people who work for Steve are on disability. That's the only way they get paid. That's why they work for free. All the volunteers of America are all the people on disability. So anyway, that's my spiel. So what was I talking about? So anyway, I wanted to bring up one more thing about the Arnold Classic. So Dennis Wolf. There's been a lot of speculation.
About Dennis Wolf, yeah.
But,
see how insulting that is?
Well, it's not insulting. He's been out of the scene. He's been out of the scene for quite a while, and he's coming back.
He doesn't like you, but go ahead.
Well, I don't know about that. We don't know about that. He might look. You know what? When you're injured and you don't feel good and you're not doing well, and you're not in the line anymore. People they kind of recede into their own shell. In defense of Dennis, he didn't do an interview with anyone really. He just kept quiet.
No, he didn't. We have an interview, a long one, me and him in Spain a couple years ago.
Right,
and he said, "I don't like you." When I said, "What do you don't like me for?"
He still interviewed with you though.
Yeah, I get like I couldn't believe that he didn't like me. He said, "I don't like Dave," and I said, "About what?"
Yeah, I guarantee if he does well, I bet after he competes, he'll talk.
It was a great interview. He opened out. He did a
he speaks
it wasn't me. He really has a lot to say.
He speaks really well, very good English now. And I don't know why he wouldn't like us because I did a lot of coverage when I was working with MD back in the day with him. I interviewed him many times. And look, we just report the news and don't shoot the news reporter, so to speak. All right, what else did I want to?
So Dennis, what were we going to say?
So Dennis. So I mean. A lot of people are not really talking about him being a factor, and it's hard to make a comeback. But I can't imagine that Dennis Wolf would come back to a big show if he wasn't ready to come back, and that's where I think people are not. In other words, he would if he wasn't ready for the show. He waited 2 years. He would just do another show. He evidently, and him and Dennis James, who's helping him, obviously think that he's ready to go and that he's going to do well at this show. And, he could have waited to the New York Pro and done it. The Arnold is a much bigger show with much bigger competitors. He must feel ready to unleash whatever he's been, working on. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the stage. He's the wild card. It's funny. You never thought you'd say Dennis Wolf is going to be the black dark horse in the lineup, but he really is because he's an unknown factor. We don't really know what he looks like. It's not like he took 20 years off and he's making a comeback like Levrone and Wheeler did. He just he had the surgery, missed 2 years, and now he's coming back. Can he get back to the way he was? Who knows? He took a long enough time to recover. And it wasn't like he was not working hard. He was doing his physical therapy and getting back to, getting things working again. And it's going to be a matter of whether his back and the rest of him was able to be trained with the same intensity level that got him the size to begin with for him to regain that size. And so that makes it an exciting, I guess, type of show because we have unknown factors in it. And, if these other guys come in a little off and Wolf comes in shredded. Now, Wolf's problem has always been, can he come in shredded and full enough? And, if he lost, let's say he lost 7 pounds, let's say he's 7 pounds lighter than his biggest.
Then he's not big enough.
Then he might not be big enough, right? Because he's going to come in, hard, but he's going to look too small. That's where I think he's going to have the problem. I don't have any doubt that he's going to be in beautiful condition. His waist will be small, his lines will be good, but will he be big enough to beat these other guys with his height? And that's the unknown factor. He'll probably match up against Cedric very well, I'm sure, because they're about the same height, right?
I thought in 14 Cedric dwarfed him, but that's just me. So I don't think he does actually. No,
but I'm saying for tall guys, I mean they kind of match up well in that lineup. I think we'll see. We'll see. Any Big Ramy reports, news?
No, I haven't heard from Big Ramy.
Because you talked to him, right?
I can't reach out to him because it's almost like it becomes a.
Stop moving the microphone around.
The power just came off.
Oh.
Anyways, I haven't spoken with him. Might be a little too much controversy to speak with him. I'll send you. You can tell Kamal when you interview Kamal on Tuesday to speak to Ramy and say that Chris said hello.
Did they speak?
They probably speak. I'm sure they do.
Yeah. I got a great little gift package. I've been getting a lot of gift packages in the mail lately. I can't even remember all the people who've been sending me stuff. But I got first of all, this week I'm going to be wearing my Big Lenny shirt that they gave me on the air. I got two extra larges, so I'm going to be wearing that. That's one gift I got. But Quest Nutrition sent me the new. They have these new cookies, these new protein cookies, and the Hero bars. Which the Hero bars are like the old $100,000 bars. I don't know if you remember those.
Oh yeah, I remember those bars.
With the nougat inside of it, and they're all made with allulose, so they're not absorbable. It's a natural sugar that's really very, very poorly absorbed in the body. They're so good. They're not overly sweet. To be honest with you, I have to prevent myself from eating them all day because they're that good. You would like them. I'm telling you, your kids would love them. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a recommendation to you to get your kids some of these Quest cookies and Quest Hero bars, Chris, because it's a great snack you can give them, and they're high in protein. There's no crap in them. There's no artificial, anything in them.
The problem is the UPS guy will come to my house.
That's true. You might have to go down to the end of the block and it's the weather's so bad that you might have to take a sleigh and actually bring it back. Someone told me, Dave, you got to get one of those quads. I make fun of all my neighbors have these golf carts they drive around in.
And you got one.
No, I don't have a golf cart. I'm not getting a golf cart. I'm fucking 50. I'm not even 50 years old yet. I'm not driving around a golf cart. I said,
with slippers and a robe.
My property's not that big, but I'm thinking if I got to go to the end of the block, someone's like, you should get one of those quads. Those the 4x4 quads. You can just go down and pick things up. And
what is a quad? What's it look like?
It's like a cool looking
golf cart.
Yeah, golf cart, pretty much.
I guess.
No, they're much faster and with more power. You can pull things behind it.
Are they electric?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if
if they're electric, you can
I think
the Buckman and put the H1 Hummer little logo on the front of it.
I could send it to Germany and have them make it into an electric one if they don't have electric. I'll trick it out. I'll be like, Steve, look what I got. Arnold's got one of these too. It's a 4x4 quad, electric quad. It's environmentally sound. So I've been breeding these two snakes. They're called olive pythons. It's like the you know what the Burmese python is. In Australia, one of the biggest snakes is these olive pythons. They don't get too thick, but they get really long, and they're really cool. For some reason, I like them. They have very, very small scales, and it's very smooth. Your son held, I think, one of them. And I'm breeding this albino one to one that carries the albino gene, so I can produce. I haven't been able to produce any babies for years. No, very few. I think only one person in the United States has made albino olive pythons, and so I'm like thinking these fucking things won't breed. I got them. And first of all, the female wanted to eat them, ate one of the males This was 2 years ago. Yeah, I didn't know that no one told me that they eat each other if they don't like.
Some people have bad relationships, but that's a little bit.
Yeah. Then, so this year I got the male up to size, so he's almost the same size as her. I figured she can't eat him. I went to put her in the cage, and she attacked him. So I pulled him out. So I contacted the number one olive breeder, python breeder in Australia. This guy Troy K from K Brothers Pythons, and I said, Troy, I know you don't know me, but everyone, it's so weird. The snake world and the bodybuilding world is intertwined. He kind of knows me just from bodybuilding, but he's like, I said, how do you get these? What do you do if you have olive pythons that want to eat the other ones? You ever experience this? He goes, all the time. I said, how come no one else admits to that? He goes, people don't like to admit anything. I said, well, what do you do when you want to breed them? I don't want the female to eat the male again. I said, how do you get these males? And he goes, the trick is don't feed them for like 4 to 6 weeks. I'm like, won't that make them hungrier? He goes, no. He goes, it makes them forget about the food. So I said, it's counterintuitive. I said, okay, I'm going to listen. This guy's obviously been doing it. So I didn't feed the thing from the whole month of the end of November and the beginning of all December. And I put the female in like January 1st. I put the male in with the female. And I'm like praying, don't eat her. I watched. They didn't do anything. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to take a fucking chance. I leave them overnight. 2 days goes by. 3 days goes by. No one's eating anything. But they're not even paying attention to each other. I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? I'll leave them in together. So this has been going on for months, and there's another trick that a lot of these, olive python breeders use is they put two males in together. So you add another male to the equation, and the males will battle. They'll like wrestle each other, and whoever wins, one of them wins. You pull one out, you pull the one you don't want out, and you leave the other one in there. And they both think they won the fight, and then they get into this like macho like type of thing where they want to actually go breed the female. So I put the other male in, and one's an albino, which is pigmentless, it's white, and the other one's green, which my son calls the Hulk snake. Well, I call it the Hulk snake because it looks like the Incredible Hulk. And so I put them together, and they were battling it out like this was like 2 weeks ago, and I said, it's not working. And so I went down there today, and we had some crazy rainstorm. And it's weird when the barometric pressure changes. All of a sudden, I see the two snakes breeding. So I could possibly produce albino olive pythons. I know that no one on our radio show really gives a shit about that, but these are the things I do when the bodybuilding season is quiet. I get excited about my silly little hobbies. But that's really all that's going on. Once again, we got a good week of TV programming coming up with the return of the Heavy Muscle TV show. We're going to have Kamal El Gargani on. We're going to find out who he is and what he is all about. That's going to be an exciting interview. The Amin, I did a great, this is what I wanted to mention, the last thing. I did a great interview with Amin Alai. We did a live with, and we talked about the 80s, well, really the 90s, and where growth hormone came about. Because he's like, I'm the first person to get, growth hormone. I said, I thought I was getting it from this doctor in 91.
Wait, what's that mean?
Meaning that he was getting growth hormone before anyone had growth hormone accessible to him. He had the connection. Everyone thinks they had the connection. He might have the connection. He said Bethesda Naval Base, and you guys will listen to the interview. It's a very interesting interview. Bethesda Naval Base was doing the first testing with growth hormone for, the synthetic growth hormone that they made via Genentech on these dwarfs. And they didn't know what the right dosages were, Chris. And they found that there was, from what he at least told me, there were 3 levels. There was like the first level causes muscle building and fat loss. The second level kind of can influence organ growth. And then the third level can influence bone growth. So the higher the dosage, the more of these other effects you get. So for bodybuilding purposes, you certainly don't want to take what a GH deficient kid would take to get bone growth. It would be too much. You'd get side effects. That's why, we were talking about, back in the day, guys would use 2-3 IUs a day, and they wouldn't use any more. In other words, if you had extra, you figured, well, I got another 6 months worth. You wouldn't just say, oh, I got so much extra, I'm just going to triple my dose. No one did that back then. First of all, it was very expensive. Secondly, people didn't think that more was better, and it's really not better. I've been saying it forever. People think I'm lying, but we used 2 to 3 IUs of GH a day back in the 90s. No one used more than that, and most people didn't use any because they couldn't get it, or it was too expensive. And I guess there was like a whole bunch of people that were getting it through his source, I guess you can say. And those are the people that were winning everything. And he then went
getting it from Oliver Stone, was he? Not Oliver Stone, Roger Stone.
Well, no, Roger Stone wasn't. Roger Stone might have been using it back then, but I don't think he wasn't the source of it. But anyway, so Amin had this great connection, and then he was telling me how he met Craig Titus and how he started working with Craig. And the stories are very interesting. I'm not going to go into the whole story, but needless to say, they're super interesting. And if you guys really want to get a good take on what was going on back then, it's a great interview, and that should be up, I think, Monday. We'll be putting that interview up. So I was pleasantly surprised. It actually took me back because there was a connection, to, I'll throw some names out at you. Richard Greenbaum. You remember him?
No.
You know who Richard Greenbaum was. Absolutely.
I have no idea who that is.
Yes, you do. You know him.
No, I can't. I don't recollect.
He was another guy from the Virginia area who was helping. I know he was helping Craig for a while, Titus. I'm sure he was calling all your guys up too. He was like he was like the original Chad before Chad was around.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. So he died recently of colon cancer, unfortunately. His wife Tracy, was it Tracy Greenbaum? She won the overall NPC Junior Nationals the year I won the heavyweight class in '95. Mm-hmm. And now I hear she's got colon cancer, according to Amin.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Terrible, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that weird? He died
That's really weird.
A couple months ago.
Makes you think it's something they're drinking. You know what I mean, like an environmental toxin.
I
or
know.
Something
It's the weirdest thing. It's like when they say when people live together like a really long time, they start to look like each other because they eat the same foods and they do the same things and. Yeah. It's kind of weird. I wonder if I always wonder is it on an energy level that it's happening, or is it on just a physicality level because of what they're consuming and being exposed to? Is it environmental, or is it like almost like you kind of synchronize with each other? I don't know. It's a weird. No one's ever studied that, but I'm sure that there's something going on. I bet you certain genes get turned on because of the same stimuli in the environment that you're exposed to for so long. But so I thought that was interesting. So that's a very, very good interview that will be going up, no doubt. Of course, we'll probably be doing an Iron Rage about the removal of the Boston Lloyd video from MD. And once again, that video is available on Boston's YouTube channel. So if you want to listen to what was removed, and Boston reposted it on there, and he'll be explaining, because he'll be on the show on Tuesday as well, and he'll be telling us what went on. Of course, the big Lenny interviews, part 1 and 2, are up on the RxMuscle site as well, and on the RxMuscle YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We have a lot of I don't know if you've seen how many new subscribers. We went over 100,000. Obviously, that was my goal. Now I have a new goal because obviously you got to constantly have goals, right? You got to constantly have goals.
How many are you looking at now?
I'm looking at
200,000.
No, I'm looking at 150 first. I'll take one step at a time. I don't want to be greedy. But we have 104,000 subscribers now. We've been going up probably almost 1,000 every 7 to 10 days, which is really awesome. And I'm hoping by mid-season that we're at 150. That would be really nice. 200,000 would be great by the end of the year. That would be an incredible feat if we could do that, if we can double our viewers, in 1 year. But I think, what happens is the more you have, the more recommendations you get to your videos, and then and we've been putting out a lot of good stuff, and I think more people start subscribing and hearing about the channel. So I'm glad that finally, it took a long time to get some traction, but I'm glad people are finally appreciating what we're doing and loving the content and keep supporting us. And once again, don't miss all the content we have coming up this week. A lot of people are just kind of resting on their laurels till the Arnold. We don't slow down here at RxMuscle, as you know, Chris. Why cut back, right?
Why cut back?
And on that note,
why cut back? Did that break out? You have to ask Boston. Is Boston going to be on with you or no?
Yes, he will.
You got to ask him if that broke like a Guinness Book of World Record for shortest running show. What were some of the TV shows that got canceled after... what are some famous TV shows? Google it. What famous TV shows were canceled after like half a season or one season or... Yeah. I don't think anything's ever been canceled after, 20 minutes.
No. Nope. Boston was, though. We'll find out the real story. So, guys, once again, stay tuned to all the programming this week, and we'll be back next week, as always. For now, we're out of time. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
good night, everyone.
Call 911 now!